A Visit from Lipschitz is an interesting episode of Rugrats for several reasons. This is the first segment of the 13th episode of the second season, and Didi reveals to Stu that she met Dr. Lipschitz at a book signing and she invited him for dinner and he accepted. And Tommy and Chuckie overhear this and they refer to him throughout this as the Lipschitz, which I just think is so funny. And because Didi refers to him as a mommy, or saying he knows more about raising children than any other mommy, Tommy and Chuckie think that he must be a kind of mother. And when he arrives, he doesn't look like a mother in their eyes, and they try and find out exactly what he is. And things don't go to plan for Didi, and I will explain more about that in a moment. But we definitely have it. I feel like it's being very obvious about the fact that Dr. Lipschitz doesn't actually know the first thing about children. He's all theory, no practical. And it's definitely interesting in that regard. I don't have children, but I would be the kind of person who would read manuals by people who think they know everything about children, but perhaps haven't had children. And I imagine there are actually a lot of those. And honestly, Dr. Lipschitz as a character, I just thought was really decent, actually. It took a little while for me to warm to him as a character, but once he was left to his own devices, and I'll explain what I mean by that with a spoiler warning, but once he was left to his own devices, I actually thought he was a really fascinating character, and watching him interact with Tommy and Chuckie was particularly fascinating, and I really liked the direction the narrative took. So I have to say, it was actually really good, and definitely something that, yeah, I feel like a lot of people will be able to relate to it. If you have any kind of book where somebody writes or tells you how to do something, such as raising children, even though they've never done it themselves. And this is what it certainly is the feeling we get with Dr. Lipschitz. He knows how to do things in theory, but when it comes to the practice, things are not necessarily that easy. And Tommy and Chuckie certainly don't make things easy for him. But it was pretty decent. Spoilers from now. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail, so there'll be spoilers from this point onwards. And one thing that annoyed me is that Didi decided to take a stand against Stu, because when her back was turned, Stu and Grandpa and Chuckie's father, Chaz, went out to a ball game. But he already had tickets before she invited Dr. Lipschitz over, and that really annoyed me. He already had plans. She was the one who sabotaged his plans, not the other way on, and that really got to me, and I don't feel like the episode did a good job of saying that, and it really should have done. It made Stu look like a bad person for bailing and going to the game, but he already had plans, so that annoyed me a little bit. Also, Dr. Lipschitz taking a bath in their house, that was a little weird. Definitely a little creepy, but I have to say it worked quite well and it was quite amusing. Also, he called them Rugrats. I think this is the first time in the show where somebody has actually called the babies Rugrats. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty confident, and it just made me smile. I like the design of Dr. Lipschitz. I think the character is pretty great. I don't know if he ever features again, but certainly I like the character. This episode I don't remember from my childhood, but I most certainly remember Dr. Lipschitz. It's a very memorable name. Didi's always referring to him. So, not a bad episode at all. There are bits in it, such as Didi taking a stand against Stu doing something he already had plans for. That kind of annoyed me. But I thought it was an interesting commentary on how somebody who can write books about something without any practical experience may not know exactly how to cope when it comes to actually applying their theories. And ultimately, from Chuckie and Tommy's perspective, quite a cute episode.